Aunque seamos amigos, dale un poquito, dale más perreo, dale que esta noche tú te vas. Y por la parte de atrás, dale yo beba, tú te vas a fugar. No digas nada, dale más perreo, pide más jaqueo. En la discoteca tú sabes estamos vueltos, pide par de trago, beba que yo lo pago. Ey, conmigo pa' abajo, anda con algarillo puesto con la mami. Esta noche mami nos vamos para la del party. No me importa, mira lo que diga tu papi. Esta noche te convierto en mi mami. Dale mami suelta, dale más conecta. Todas las choris se pusieron, mira paricera. Dale rastrilleja, duro y ya no para. Esa chula mira que me laza. Dale más, que tú quieres. Esta noche los weekends. Dale mira que nos vamos si te atreves. Retumba la bocina mami. Dale pégate más perreo. Dale mami, yo te agarro por el cuello. Llama a tu amiguita que esta noche nos vamos. Esta noche pa' abajo. Suena el boom 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 que nos vamos. Dale, esta noche con los tragos. Alza con la copa, mira yo vacilando. Ey, tu amiguita envidiando. Tengo el gombete, vamos al garete. No me importa, mira que nos vamos hasta las 7. Tengo el yoki, nos vamos no loki. Ey, dale mami bien funky. Dale más pa' abajo. Ey, conmigo tú bailando. Dale, se agarra el pelo, nos vamos. Dale, mira que ya me sigue sudando. Esta noche más te vas conmigo. Aunque seamos amigos, dale un poquito. Dale más perreo, dale que esta noche tú te vas. Ey, por la parte de atrás, dale yo beba, tú te vas a fugar. No digas nada, dale más perreo, pide más jaqueo. En la discoteca tú sabes estamos vueltos. Pide par de trago, beba que yo lo pago. Ey, conmigo pa' abajo, anda con algarillo puesto con la mami. Esta noche mami nos vamos para la del party. No me importa, mira lo que diga tu papi. Esta noche te convierto en mi mami. Dale más, que tú quieres. Ey, esta noche los weekends. Si me par de trago, mami que nos vamos. Ey, nos escapamos en el carro.
Yeah, you see, I know I'm a vibe. She find a way to love me even though I'm not her type. Purple, orange, pink clouds float way up high. A lot of y'all depressed, you don't even know why. I'm just trying to live my way. I don't have to put it in my bio. A lot of y'all throw smoke from the shade, and most of y'all are motherfuckers, I know. Come on, 5, 6, you gotta do it like this, 7, 8, I've been dancing since I was 6, Every kid on the block that's ticking its talk. I've been posting these gems, they've been giving you rocks. I've been fooled once or twice. Not everyone that loves you really gives you good advice. I think that it's nice that they try, but I find I'd rather follow signs from the dreams in my mind. Yeah. I've been fooled once or twice. The girl you think is flirting is just being really nice. It's cool, but it's like I've been getting confused, no clothes and no likes, but she follows me twice. Nice. Sometimes I gotta treat people like they're phone companies. I never believe what they say. Okay, you know when they tell you they have a deal, deep down it's not real, and yet you still pay. Come on, 5, 6, you gotta do it like this, 7, 8, I've been dancing since I was 6, Every kid on the block that's ticking its talk. I've been posting these gems, they've been giving you rocks.
Me, your boy Rico no Suave, and welcome back, and welcome back. OMG. Yes, I am super happy to be back because it's 2024, everybody. And oh, yeah, baby. Oh, yeah, I am super happy and I feel refreshed. Yes, I feel really refreshed. And hopefully that you guys feel refreshed as well, too, because the Rico no Suave is ready to go for 2024. You already know. You know we have to do it just like that, everybody. All right, so this part is reflecting on 2023, right? In 2023, we've done so much in regards to accomplishments. And also, of course, we had our ups and downs when it came to people like saying, no, we don't want your services, or no, you're not accepted, or whatsoever. But during that time, you know, we always kept ahead of the game. And one of the things about staying ahead of the game, everybody, is making sure that we stay positive and say, hey, it's just not our turn yet. But there's a lot of things that I have to say that having an agent like Beatrice Davis, I almost want to cry. Beatrice Davis is one of our biggest fans, but she's also kind of our agent for the show. And I'm super happy to be able to, you know, really appreciate a lot of things that she's actually done as far as the Rico no Suave show. 2023 has brought us a lot of great people. Also, I have to thank Heart of Hollywood as well, too, for having me, the Rico no Suave show, as a host in 2023, because it was such a great thing to be able to talk to a lot of different celebrities, also a lot of different people from, you know, man, how can I say it? From people, from directors of movies, musicians, and all of that great stuff. And not only just, you know, Heart of Hollywood, big shout out to Giovanna Salas, but also, you know, being able to bring that over to the Rico no Suave show as well, with a lot of great talent that comes onto the show to be able to make it enjoyable for all of you. NASCAR was a big thing for us as well. NASCAR was huge. NASCAR made a big difference in regards to how we are actually able to get into the media and to be able to interview people on site, but also take a lot of great photos, to take a lot of great videos as well, too, and see a lot of the race car drivers get into the pit. And it's just such an exciting time. I think one of my biggest ones was just the street race here in Chicago. That hits close to home. Not only, of course, we're based here, but that reflection of being able to be out in the rain just to try to take photos and, you know, and just pouring down and thinking that it's going to be like canceled, and it wasn't. And I was like, oh, my God, I got to get out there. Right. You know, and of course, you know, I didn't have my raincoat, but I know a lot of the fans did. But I stuck through it and it was awesome. It was such a great experience. And then off to Vegas, of course. Vegas itself, being able to interview Matt Jaskell, the race car driver, and it was just, and everybody just welcoming. 2023 has brought a lot of great producing from our producers that's actually cutting and putting in highlight reels and putting highlight videos together for you guys to be able to enjoy it. And of course, the biggest one is you, our fans of the Rico no Suave show. Always continue to encouraging. And for you guys that also subscribe to our channel as well, too. And also, you know, E360 TV, we signed a big deal, and we could tell you now that we signed a big deal with Best Ever Channels. And that's really huge as far as for us in 2023, as well as Red Coral Universe. So we have a lot of great things that we have actually accomplished. Thanks to also, of course, Beatrice Davis. Want to mention that name again. And also all of you guys and all of the fans out there. So I want to say thank you guys so much. And I cheer myself to you. Thank you so much. So I got to introduce this gentleman here. You know, when we talk about corporations, you know, and me being in corporate America, there are things where you tend to laugh about what people do in corporate America. And when you do laugh at it, and finally, you find a comedian that can laugh with you and also can make your corporate employees feel better about their job or maybe feel bad about their job and knowing that they can't do that because HR might be watching. This gentleman here has been around the world. He's been killing it. Has many accolades. And, being a comedian, to be able to, bring sorrow to laughter, to happiness, this is what this gentleman does. And I'm so happy that he's here with us today. I want you guys to put your hands together for none other than the corporate comedian. He also crashes your pad, too. Greg Schwem. Let's go. What's up, Greg? How you doing,
Very
son?
good. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Happy New Year. How's
It's
everything?
2024.
Yeah,
Wow.
yes,
Yeah.
it is 2024, my
It's
man.
so funny that you were just talking about HR, because that was my first show of 2024 yesterday.
Was it?
Was 100 HR representatives in Saginaw, Michigan.
Yeah.
So yeah, might as well just dive right into the cesspool of comedy. They were great though.
I'm
HR
sure.
people are always great when they get together.
One of the things is that, being in corporate America, there's so many things where people can say certain things that you can.
Right, exactly. And
And
I get paid for
and
it.
get
That's
paid
even
for it.
better.
And I think that is such a key to laughter, because in the inside, like, man, Greg just touched me with that, and I'm like, I think that's why having a comedian where they can actually say certain things that you can't, especially in corporate America. There's so many things that happens in the corporate world where you can actually make fun of something, even though, some people might be like, man, I went through that, and that is hilarious. And I'm so glad that he's here to tell that story. So,
Right.
so welcome to the show, man. Welcome to the show. I'm super happy to actually have you here. You ready to get into it?
Absolutely.
Let's get it on, man. Corporate comedian, what makes you go into that industry of comedy for corporations?
Yeah, it almost happened by accident. I started out as a club comedian, as just everybody does, and I was working comedy clubs all over the country. But when I started doing stand-up, it was right in the middle of sort of the technology revolution of computers, and Bill Gates was the bomb and so forth. I started doing a lot of material about what I was experiencing with my own computer, just trying to work it and trying to figure out all this stuff. And I started doing a lot of that stuff on stage. And eventually, I would have people come up to me after shows and just like what you said about, we need to laugh at what's going on down at our company, and what you were talking about on stage is exactly what we're going through. And would you come down and just tell those jokes? And that's really what did it. And I started getting invited to sales meetings and corporate events, corporate kickoffs and award ceremonies. And, it's interesting, Rico. I never knew that whole environment existed. I came from a background in journalism, in TV journalism, and I didn't get invited to things like that. I didn't even know if they had them. When you're always trying to put out a product, you're working all the time. I don't get invited to San Juan for 3 days. So and we really like your style, and we like the fact that you work clean and that you seem to get us.
Yes.
And the more I did it, the more I thought, there's something here. And I think and you know this as well.
Yes.
Any time you're in any type of show business, you're always trying to figure out how to set yourselves apart from everybody else.
Sure.
What makes your talk show different than everybody else's?
Sure.
You know what it is, and then you find that lane and you go for it. And that's what I did. And the more I did it, the more I thought this is where I belong.
That's awesome, man. That's all. I mean, I have to, congratulate you on that. That piece of being able to have somebody trust you to come in, to talk about corporate things, and make fun of it, right, in a positive way, of course, is a risk that certain people do take.
Yeah,
in
and
regards.
you hit the nail on the head when you said trust.
Yes.
What I do, there definitely has to be an element of trust between myself and the client,
Sure.
and how I enable that trust. That comes from, talking to them ahead of time, finding out about their event, finding out about their company. What was good this year? What was bad this year? What don't you want me to talk about?
Right.
And the more comfortable they get, then I know the better the show's going to be.
You know, Greg, when when I think about corporate America, I think of, you know, different areas that you can talk about, from HR to finance to marketing to IT, of
Sure,
course, which
absolutely.
I'm in, IT. And then, you know, you do have the mailroom, right? You do have the other areas of where there's the janitorial work, right?
Right.
It all makes the company, right?
Yeah.
You have the CEO, of course, the
Right,
CEO, the
right.
executives, of course. You got to talk about them, right? And just the different splashes. When you went into a company to talk, well, we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about that in a minute, but I'm excited. When it comes to you talking about a company as a whole, has it always been talk, or as a comedian, do you hit all different types of departments on one set? Or is it like you pick and choose what you
Yeah, I think I pick and choose. I kind of let the internet guide me. I do.
like
I mean,
that.
I get on their website and I find what I think is the funniest. So
Okay.
obviously, that's probably going to be geared heavily towards marketing and maybe IT, because those two departments kind of are what make the website.
Yeah.
The approach that I kind of take is, this is all new to me. What you people do is, I have no idea what it is, but I'm fascinated by it. So I'm going to sort of give you my take on it as an outsider. And my take is going to be humorous, because what you don't want to do, and this is why I think there's so few comedians that do corporate events, is you can't make it look like you're, or make it sound like you're belittling or mocking
Right,
what they
right,
do. I mean,
right.
I think there's a very fine line between having fun and crossing that line. And once you do, then all of a sudden it's not funny to them
Right,
anymore, because
correct.
it's what they do every day.
Correct.
And they're good at it, and
Correct.
they're better at it than I am.
Yeah.
So why not just sort of praise them and say, even though I don't really quite know what it is you do, it sounds really cool, and I'm going to get into it using what I found on your website.
Yeah.
And it might not be correct, but that's where the humor comes in.
That, you know, that's interesting that you could just take a piece of the website and, you know, and say, hey, I'm going to talk about this.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And then make it fun. How long are your sets normally for?
Yeah, usually between 45 and 60 minutes.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's a long time.
That's a long time.
It is. And I can't do a customized set. I can't do 60 minutes about a company. I don't have that much time.
Right.
But what I try to do is, so I have a good body of work that I think works for just about any organization. But then we never know where that other part's going to go.
Yeah.
And that's where the customization comes in.
I got you. So it's kind of like you're mixing and matching of what you would talk about just in general. Like, I'm thinking of it as 60 minutes is a long time,
Yeah.
even for a presentation, right?
Right.
If a vendor came into a corporation and say, hey, we want to sell you this product and we want 60 minutes of your time, you would think that the first 30 minutes is like, okay, you gave me everything you need, and got the other 30 minutes to talk about whatever we want to talk about.
Right.
Do you take it as you saw what you want on the website, you package it up and say, hey, I'm going to talk about this about your website, or what I got from your website, and then put your own spin to it of talking about other things outside of that?
Yeah, I think that's a good way. I kind of, first of all, one thing that sets my presentations apart, I think, from a lot of people is their visual.
Yeah.
I use PowerPoint and Keynote and so forth. And, you know, a lot of times I do that because it's almost like, look, you might not know that this is on your website, but I found it, and let's talk about this a little bit and what it means. And I let them see that beforehand.
Okay.
I let the client see that because, again, it's important for me to. It's all about a comfortability and a trust factor.
Yes.
So
Yes.
I want them to say, hey, you know, I don't do my presentation for them.
Yeah.
I don't do my whole routine
Yeah.
on the phone,
Right.
2 days before.
Right.
But I will let them see the visuals because it kind of makes them feel like the company feel like they're a part of the process.
Of course.
And I think that's important.
That is.
I mean, that's, a club comedian would not do that. He would not say, okay, everybody come in an hour before and I'm going to just throw this out at you. I mean, SNL does that. Okay, they do dress rehearsal, but no, most people, it's like, this is it. You like it. If you don't, that's too bad.
Right.
But I like to think that my presentations are a team effort. And if I hit on something they really like, they go, that's great, do more on that, then I will.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's the other way around. Sometimes they might say, they might look at something or a joke or something I pull off the web and they'll say, that really doesn't apply to this particular division.
I see.
So I'm like, please let me know. I would rather you tell me ahead of time instead of me going out there and doing something and everybody going, does he really know what we do? Because it doesn't seem like he does, because we have no idea who those people are on the screen. And, that was from 4 years ago anyway. So not that that's ever happened.
That'd be like, I'm going to put these people on the screen. Who are they?
Yeah, exactly.
Who are these people that's on your website? So like IT, you need to update your website.
Yeah.
Well, that's cool. I really like it. I really like the fact that you're able to come in to talk to, whoever's coordinating the event, right? And be able to say, hey, this is what I want to talk about. What do you guys want to actually talk about?
Yeah.
And that's so cool, because not a lot of people really understands the ins and out of being in comedy and actually taking it to a level of a corporation.
Right.
They're so used to being in the club or, you have a comedy night or Laugh Factory and things like that.
Sure.
And then when you take it to a corporation, are most of your gigs, so when you actually get hired, because this is, for me, it's always been a tricky one. When I think of events, I think about holiday parties.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
I think you kind of have this as well, too, built in. Team building. Right?
Very
Team
much
building
so.
in regards to that as far as for what you do. Are most of your gigs geared towards the holidays as well as random just team building activities?
Yeah, holidays, hardly any anymore.
Really? Okay.
When I first started doing this, I used to do a lot of holiday parties.
Yeah.
You don't find corporations doing them as much.
Okay.
I think part of that was COVID driven.
Oh, yes.
I think even though before that, I think employees didn't want them. I think they were like, my favorite holiday party joke that I do, I love doing it, and I can only do it when I do Christmas parties, is I come out and I'll go, isn't it great to spend your precious hard-earned free time hanging out with the exact same people that you see every single day of the week, And then the next joke is, this isn't a party, people. This is just overtime with liquor. All right, and I mean, which is what it is. Okay, I mean, you talk about saying things that everybody wants to say.
Yes.
That is your classic joke, and I think eventually people were just like, we'd rather have this cost $20,000 or something to rent a banquet room and have, why don't we just split it up and we'll make that part of our Christmas bonuses. So I don't do those anymore. The team building thing, I think, is big. I think that now corporations run around teams. Everything is my team this and my team this, and they all are addressed as certain teams and so forth. And I think that that's really why corporate events exist.
Okay.
I think it's to bring the people together and to develop that feeling of camaraderie. And again, especially post-COVID, because we didn't have that for 2.5 years. And I think corporations, I don't care how much money they saved, and they did, but I think they realize the value of having people in person. Yeah. And I think that's why they're coming back. I mean, you can only do so many things virtually. Yeah. And I think that's why, every time we saw this in like 2008 or 2009, we had a big economic crisis, and we stopped having meetings again. We're like, well, we'll never have those again. They came roaring back, and I think they're roaring back again.
Yeah, they are.
Which is, I think that's a good thing, because again, you get that sense of togetherness, and this is a cool place to work, and I love being a part of that.
I like that you said that, because most of the time when we're actually communicating with each other is normally in person. Me being in IT. you know, it's another thing where I'm like, okay, I like whiteboard sessions and I like the team to be around me so we can talk about some good things. And it's like a team building.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But I think the touch of having people virtual, you can only go so far with that. Right? And you don't get that really great connection, right? Because you're like, okay, well, I see you at home and, you know, you have the picture behind you. Okay, this doesn't feel right. You know, I don't want to see you home every single time. I don't like that picture, right? But
Yeah.
And then, you know, when you finally get in front of that person, you're in the same room, you can crack jokes. You're like, oh, man, that was such a great time. Let's do that again, right? When it comes down, of course, because when it comes to comedy, man, there's so many aspects of what you can actually do with comedy. Have you ever freestyled?
When you say freestyle, what do you mean?
So freestyle is that you saw something in the audience.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
What was that like?
Well, you know, it's not so much some in the audience. I will kind of roll with something that maybe somebody said on stage beforehand. You know, like, you know, and it's very risky, but I remember doing a show for a big pharmaceutical company, and it was a British group, and some British gentleman came out, and he was one of the higher ups in the company, and he tried to make jokes, and it just, they weren't going over well. Again, this is 9:30 in the morning. Just so you know, you're a corporate comedian, your alarm goes off at like 5 a.m. for your shows, a lot of times. But anyway, so then I went up and I thought, this joke's either going to kill or they're going to hate me, but I got to do it anyway. And I said, well, Nigel, thank you so much for proving how difficult comedy can be. And and it hit, and I was like the king for the next 3 days because I was hosting the conference. Yeah. So and I think people appreciate that. I don't think the guy felt like he was being made fun of at all. I think he did feel uncomfortable, like maybe I shouldn't have done that, but this guy actually kind of saved me. So, so yeah, I will play off what I see taking place.
That's a great thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because it helps you build the connection with the audience.
Yeah.
Now we make it seem like I just met the CEO, whoever that executive is, and I was buddy with him, and I come out and I talk about him.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh man, they must have been having drinks together.
Yeah, right, exactly. And I think people like that too. I think, you know, people, you know, here's one thing though. Like sometimes clients will say to me, you know, you make sure you bust on Steve, the VP of sales, because he's a really lousy golfer. And I always say, you know what? You should bust on Steve for being a lousy golfer, because I don't know Steve and the audience doesn't know I know Steve. Right. So to me, I think that seems a little phony when an outsider comes in. I think it's better. I enjoy more, again, just being like, who are you people? This is my take on you. Yeah. But I don't like to feel like I'm being fed lines ahead of time, because again, I don't think it sounds real. I don't think that's why people hire me. So now if Steve were to come out and before me and make a golf joke or you know, practice his golf swing or something like that, then I might come out after him and say, you know, Steve, all right, you know, I'll bet on stage you shoot 4 under, you know, but but we're not there right now. So
that would be mini golf.
Yes, exactly. So.
Oh, that's awesome, man. That's awesome, man. You know, I'm so happy, man. I'm so happy that you're here because there's so many different areas of comedy when it comes to just corporations in general.
Yes. Where
you can actually just build off of. Right, and make it happen. Right. And I think, you know, for the most part, being a comedian, how long have you been? How long are you a comedian? How long you been in the industry?
I've been a full-time comedian for 33 years.
Oh wow!
Yeah, it's been a while. I know I'm sort of aging myself here, but
oh, that's good.
I probably transitioned over to corporate probably about, I would say, 20 years ago.
Okay.
So 20 years in the corporate market, doing almost exclusively corporate dates. Every now and then you'll see me pop up at a club in Chicago, which I like doing because it's a great place to try out new ideas. Yes. And then if they work, then like, okay, how can I transition that to a corporate client?
I see.
You know, how can I weave that into? But because you can't really, that's the one thing about doing corporate events. It's very hard to work on new ideas on stage. But for the most part, yeah, for the last 20 years, I would say exclusively the corporate scene.
You know, I look at it as what you do for corporations versus what you do out in just normal comedian activity, like at clubs where it's more kind of laid back. The versions of corporations are different.
Yes.
Meaning that you do have some that could be small, medium, large, Fortune 500s, Fortune 100s, that some is like a Google, where they're pretty laid back. You know, everybody likes to have fun. You got the foosball in the cafeteria, right? And you're good.
Everybody's
where
riding
you
around
might
on segways
right?
to get the free snacks.
Lunch every day, everybody, right? And then you have where there's a corporation that might be an enterprise that can be more of, you know, ENT enterprises of a big magazine where it's more stiff, right?
Yeah.
Or it can be not as stiff, but they know that if it's an event, of course, they understand and prepare for it.
Right.
But you do have those that have those different versions of, how can I say it, personalities.
Yeah, I agree.
Characters,
I
right?
agree.
How do you handle that when
Yeah.
it comes to those different levels?
I think the first thing you got to do is you got to really sort of read the room and read the company and figure out ahead of time how much do these people enjoy being here. Okay, and I mean I say that, I mean on one hand it sounds funny, but I have gone into shows and gone into the ballroom or so forth, and you can tell who is stoked about this event and who just thinks this is going to be a train wreck because they haven't had a good year, and maybe they're about to, you know, maybe there's some layoffs coming and so forth. And I think then you have to. That's kind of how the way I preface my material, and sometimes it's just got to be like, stay positive, everybody. You know, even though some of you are about to lose your jobs, hey, we can still laugh. That's not easy.
The check is in the mail.
Yeah, exactly. Pay no attention to that box that's on your desk that holds all your supplies. There have been a few of those, but for the most part, yeah, I think it's just a question of again doing your homework ahead of time. Finding out where the company is. And then just getting to the event early enough. And just sort of watching people, watch how they interact with each other, watch how they come in, and take it from there.
Are you know, Greg, because, you know, those things, I'm an MC as well, right? Of course, love talk shows, right? And, you know, being an MC, you have to read the room. You know, when reading the room and knowing exactly who you need to actually cheer up or try to cheer up, because those are the hardest ones that might just have that face. But then you have the ones that's just bubbly, let's go, you know, let's have a great time. I can't wait till you start, right? And that's the reason why I asked that question, because it's stage presence, right? It's reading the room, reading who's out there. And even if you miss somebody, there's always that one person that's up front that you missed, that you didn't see. And you're like, okay, I see that person. Let me look away and then try to throw something and see if they smile.
I'll tell you an abbreviated story of a company I did. It's a Chicago-based company, and they had not had a good year. And I was interviewing the CEO on stage because I do a lot of hosting, like you do. And sometimes I have to, you know, talk to the people on stage. And his team had said, you know, unfortunately, you're going to have to ask him about, you know, doom, gloom, and gloom, doom, and all these horrible things that happened. This was out in Vegas, and I said. It happened during March Madness. And I said, do you think he'd mind if I asked him who his Final Four picks were? And there was this long pause, and the guy goes, yeah, I think he'd like that. I go, well, don't tell him. So sure enough, we do the interview, and you know, I have to ask him these questions, and then right in the middle, I go, so hey, we're in Vegas, we're in you know, week 1 of March Madness. I go, Greg, who do you like in the Final Four? And he kind of like was taken aback a little bit. He goes, oh, well, you know, I got to go with Kentucky. And of course, you know, in the audience, you know, everyone in Kentucky's like, boo, you know, yeah. Anyway, the whole mood of the room changed. And all of a sudden it was two guys talking sports, and the main guy was all of a sudden a sports fan,
Nice.
and everybody suddenly relaxed. Like, this guy gets us.
Yeah.
You know, we're here, we're watching sports. Oh, he watches sports too.
Yeah.
How cool! And at the end of, you know, the guy stayed around, and people were coming up to him. Did they want to talk about the company? No, they wanted to talk about the fact that why did you pick Gonzaga? No one should pick Gonzaga. You know? And he was great. He was just riffing with people, and he said to me afterwards, he goes, "Man," he said, "I had no idea that question was coming, and it was the best thing that you asked."
That's awesome, man. I love that, man. Everybody, you already know we're here with my man Greg Schwem. Let's go, baby. The corporate comedian, always crashing your pads as well too. Everybody, we're gonna take a quick commercial break. We'll be back in 30 seconds. I'll see you soon. Welcome back. My man Greg Schwem is here with us. Greg, you having a good time?
I'm having a great time. It's amazing how fast this goes,
I know.
and that is a credit to you.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. You know, and it's, the one thing about it is that we're able to laugh and make the time go by fast.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And
Right.
also talk about some really great stuff about corporations and the comedic way.
Yes.
Right?
Right.
The comedic way. And that's what I love about what you're doing, because it makes it easier for me as far as knowing that you work in corporate America, making people laugh. That's such a great thing, you know, and I love that. And I think more people should definitely have that. We're gonna shift gears, because I need to know about these companies that you do have, and one of my favorites is Cisco. Right, of course,
right,
being in
okay.
IT, you know,
Yep.
Cisco is one of my favorites, right? And you've done a lot with a lot of companies, and I want to read them off because the world needs to know.
Okay.
They need to know. So Cisco, Verizon, Merrill Lynch, Intuit, you know, and your alma mater, Northwestern, and you, baby, Northwestern University.
Go Cats.
Yes, look, go Cats. That's right, baby. So when it comes to, I'm amazed in regards to Cisco, because, you know, I'll go to Cisco Live, where Cisco Live had these big, huge, you know, breakout sessions, but they have, you know, the keynote speakers, and they have different rooms. And when I went to Cisco Live, it was like some rooms was kind of like that TED Talk.
Yeah.
Right? They had it built out just that way, right? And of course, you being a speaker, I want to know, what was your experience, not just with Cisco, but if you want to go through the other ones, what was it like as far as your experience dealing with these big companies like this that ask you to come and talk to them? Yeah,
you know, I mean, it's an honor when you are playing in that, on that level.
Yeah.
And you all of a sudden you're thrust into these events where there's like 5,000-10,000 people, and they haven't just bought a room in Vegas. They bought the whole hotel. You know, and there have been a few of those. And just to be a part of that, and again, and I think that's really what drives me, is the fact that they trusted me enough to be here.
Yes.
This is obviously the biggest event they do all year. Cisco Live is the biggest event. You know, Sales
Sick.
Dreamforce
Yeah.
for Salesforce, same thing.
Yeah.
Think for IBM, all of those.
Yeah.
And you're like, so I'm here too. So they must obviously like humor enough to include it. Because they didn't have to include me. They could have had one of their engineers give another TED style talk and so forth. And I think that's kind of the way I delivered the show, is that it is an honor for me to be with you. I am not the star of this. You guys are the stars.
Yes,
I am just
like
here.
that.
I am just here to, you know, make the mood here even better than it is. It was, you know, if the mood was bad, you wouldn't be here. You wouldn't be having this event.
That's right.
So let's just have fun and laugh at things that Cisco's doing and so forth. And again, it's all about being very positive, not making it sound like what is Cisco Live? I don't know. I've been here for 30 minutes. It seems very Cisco dead to me. No, that's what you don't say.
If anybody comes out and says dead, they are not
Cisco
there for a reason.
More live, yes. And I think people really respond to that. I think they like seeing people from the outside to come in and give that different perspective.
Yes.
In my case, it's a comedic perspective, but it's different. It's something they haven't heard before.
Yeah, because I've been to Cisco Live and I've been to, I'm a geek, right?
Yeah.
I love being a geek because it makes you like want to see where they're going next.
Yes.
And bringing you into that, they don't have that many comedians come in to speak.
Right.
But it's more technical and what they're going through as far as with their products, just using Cisco, of course, and what's coming up next. What's their roadmap?
Yeah.
But when you throw in a comedian in the aspects of things, my question to you in regards to that, how many days were you there for Cisco when they actually asked you to come and be a speaker?
Just one.
Just one day?
Just one.
Okay.
Just fly in, fly out on all those dates. I think I've done 4 or 5 dates for Cisco
Nice.
at different, different
course.
kinds of events.
Okay.
I will say one thing though. I think when, like you mentioned, you're a geek and you like being around other geeks, and I think when people who do the same thing all get together, they really drop their guard a little bit. At the top of the show, I mentioned that I spoke for a bunch of HR reps, and anybody watching the show would be like, what is the matter with him? But I think that, you put HR people together, they're crazy. They are nuts. I mean, I did a show once, and I know this is funny in itself. I did a show for a funeral directors association, and yes, they have them. And they were crazy. I mean, they were, and they spent all day long. The best part was the expo, because they had like a trade show attached to it, and you're just walking down and you're passing casket after casket. You're like, wow, this. So what makes this model different than that one? And I mean, the jokes just kind of wrote themselves. And then I started doing those jokes, and they were like, oh, if you only knew what we go through. So they're cutting loose on their turf. Yeah. And again, that's what it goes back to. I am just proud to be a part of that.
You got me on the coffin because I can imagine
right.
what your face.
Yeah, that was. Like. I didn't even get to the urn aisle. I ran out of time.
So did a lot of caskets.
Right. So.
Oh my God! That's hilarious. I wasn't expecting for you to say the funeral piece, but when you brought that out, I'm like, yeah, they gotta laugh too.
Everybody's gotta laugh.
They gotta
right.
laugh. Oh my God, right. They're seeing death all the time.
Yes, exactly. Who needs to cut loose more than that industry?
Damn.
And you know what? That brings up a good point, because this is one thing that really kind of annoys me sometimes is when I am pitching my services and they'll be hedging a little bit and they'll say, we're just not a funny company. Well, no, nobody's a funny company. I don't care if you make clown noses. You still go to work, right? I mean, you're not. Name me a company or an industry where just comes in and just like, oh my gosh, it's 9:01, woo! And I haven't stopped. I don't stop till 5 o'clock. Right. Nobody does that. Right. So if you analyze it too much, but everybody likes to laugh. Yes. Everybody likes to laugh, and I think that's why I have. My business will always be around.
And it's fun. I'm going to be thinking about this all night, because the whole funeral thing is that I never thought about it. And it's just like, if you happen to walk into a funeral home and it's empty and all of the staff is actually laughing around, and you're like, wow, this is something different. Right. Yeah. This is something different. I've never actually seen that. And then when we talk about, stuff like this, because it's always they call it when someone passes away, it's supposed to be a celebration.
Yes.
For them, right? It's supposed to be a celebration. Everybody's supposed to be happy that there's no more pain or whatsoever. But then, yeah, you never think about the staff because every time you walk in, the staff is either quiet,
Yes.
and they're letting you know, hey, go this way. They're never laughing.
No.
Right? They're never laughing, and that's good that you did that because you actually brought life to them, and you probably brought more out of them that they was like, I couldn't wait no longer for this one.
Right.
For you being
Right.
there,
Right. Exactly.
And that's awesome, man. I congratulate you. I congratulate you on the Cisco as well too, because the Cisco Lives and the events that they actually have is all around, right? And you can go to Australia, you can go international. Have you traveled out of the country?
I have.
To actually do corporations?
Yeah,
as well too?
I did a show for Microsoft in Poland.
Nice.
I have been to Cusco, Peru. That was an incentive trip, an American-based insurance company.
Okay.
That was their trip for all their top performers. Another one, I was asked to join a cruise on the Rhine River.
I was going to ask you about that.
So yeah. So it has this method of comedy that I've chosen. This lane has allowed me to see the world, and that's pretty cool.
Man, I'm happy for you, man. Yeah. I'm happy for you because that takes your talent to where places that you would never think that you may be. Right. And or where you may go. I should say, especially internationally. That's a beautiful thing.
Yes.
You know what else is a beautiful thing? People in the comments. I gotta check to see who's actually, because we're so much laughing. Hello, Donna Marie Bird. Thank you so much. And thank you so much for actually tuning in. Let me see who else is actually tuning in here. Because, there's John T for free. There's Doctorial Schwem. Oh, okay. Thank you so much for tuning in as well, too. John T for free is checking in. He says, hello. What's going on? Thank you guys so much. You already know. You got to make sure you show some love. If you have any questions for my man here, please ask questions. We got it. So let me make sure I get this down here. All right. Okay. The force of laughter is the heartbeat of joy. Thank you so much, Donna Marie Bird. I appreciate that.
I like that.
Yeah, I like that too, right? I like that as well. So thank you guys so much for actually tuning in, and man, continue ask questions before we take our next break in a few minutes. But man, because there's certain areas, and I was going to talk about the cruises, because there's comedians on cruises, right? Of course, but there's the club comedians. I don't know if you call them club comedians on cruises, because most of the ones I've seen is clubs that goes on to like Carnival. But when it comes to a corporation, it's different.
Yeah, totally.
What was it like on that cruise?
Doing cruises? Well, all the cruise ships that I've worked, and I just started doing cruise ships. Well, I've dabbled in them for about 20 years off and on, but I started doing them more actually during COVID, because corporate events had shut down and cruise ships were still sailing. And I was like, well, at least it's a live audience.
Right.
Now on a cruise, I'm not doing a show for a corporation. I'm doing a show for the passengers. Okay.
Yeah.
So it's more of a nightclub act. But
Got it.
Here is the reason that I like doing cruises: is you get a incredibly diverse demographic.
Of course.
You get 20-year-olds and 80-year-olds in the same room, different countries, different languages being spoken.
Beautiful.
And I have to figure out how to make all of them laugh. Maybe not all the time, but I have to choose material that's going to appeal to every single segment of that audience. And I think that's a real challenge. But it's really one that I embrace, because I feel like, okay, these people came on and they paid a lot of money and they want to laugh, and that's my job. And I know that I just came off one, and it went to Hawaii, and then they spent a lot of days at sea, and then they went to Mexico and so forth. And it was really interesting just to kind of watch how they embraced me and embraced my style, and looking out at different ages and who they were with. I mean, people come on with their whole families, and some people come on for their honeymoon. Some people come on by themselves. And but they're all in the room for the same reason, and that is they want to laugh.
There you go.
To me, it's also a very nice diversion from the corporate events too, because in corporate events people are at work, and you have to kind of get them out of work. In the cruises, they're on vacation. And
they're more relaxed and they're ready to go.
Cool.
Have anybody, before we take a quick break real quick, have anybody ever called you and say the next day, oh my God, I was laughing in my sleep?
I haven't gotten. I was laughing in my sleep. I've gotten that. I've gotten. You know, I nearly peed my pants. That's what we live for, Rico. That and spit drinks out your nose. If I can get either of those, that's going on my LinkedIn profile.
There you go. Well, there you have it, everybody. Greg Schwem making you actually spit out whatever you got in your mouth.
Right.
I love it. Hey, Greg, sit back, relax, because this next one is a doozy. Everybody, we have something called NASCAR Moments, everybody. NASCAR Moments. Let's put that flyer up. Let's put that flyer up because we need to let them know that Rico No Suave show is always doing NASCAR Moments, and we're so happy. We're coming up, actually. We're going to be there in Las Vegas in March as well, too. So can't wait to cover that. That is going to be awesome. But this year, everybody, this is, how can I say, last year, they reached their 75th season. And I'm so happy that we were part of Chicago, was part of their segment, their video. So I want to roll this clip for you guys to be able to see that. All right, I want you to enjoy this clip, about a minute or so.
The Busch Light Clash from the Coliseum.
Truex scores the win.
Hell yeah, boys. Let's go ahead and start off the year now. Let's go.
Daytona 500 winner.
Let's go, boys. Wow. RTR, baby.
For the second week in a row.
Oh, yeah, baby. I need to park it.
The 38-year-old is going to win at Indianapolis.
And for the 75th year of NASCAR, North Wilkesboro Speedway.
$1 million, Kyle
An
Larson.
old school ass whipping like they would have seen here.
Chicago, let's go racing! Kyle Busch hard into the tire barrier.
Shane Van Gisbergen wins.
Thank you, guys. Well, don't wreck us, Diddy. I thought you was better than that.
Hamlin wins Kansas.
So proud of you, Denny.
Now they're in the wall.
3 races that that one car is taking us out of.
Final.
Yeah, baby. Yes. That was awesome. Did you like that?
I loved it,
Man, you know,
I'm
that
so
was.
glad that the race is coming back.
Yes, sir. Yes,
I'm
sir.
glad they're going to get another shot at it.
Man, we got actually, they signed, I want to say, to 2025.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, 2025 is when they actually are actually coming back. So, I'm sorry, this year as well as 2025.
Okay.
So, I mean, in Chicago, we made a lot, I would say NASCAR made a lot of money in regards to that. But what we did was rich in value of all different cultures coming together. It was awesome.
Mm-hmm.
It was awesome. It was so great that they actually put us in that clip, in that video. So NASCAR, that was another great NASCAR moment. 75th season. I'm super happy about that. So hope you guys enjoyed that. So, you know, we're down to the last few minutes of fame around here. That's what I say, Greg. That's what I say. You know, because we had a lot that we talked about when it comes to how you got started, what companies that you went to actually make them laugh, and then the funeral is always going to be in my head now because that's a unique one. That is something that you're not expecting.
No,
you know, you're not expecting at all, and it's crazy how you can just make people laugh. You know, make people laugh and go from there. So, yes. Okay, and we got some questions that we got to make sure that I make sure that we get from you. So, Brian Kravitz, I think that's Lenny Kravitz, brother.
Probably.
Who are your biggest inspiration when it comes to comedians?
Mm-hmm. That's a great question, Brian. The two that got me started in comedy, Steve Martin and David Letterman.
Steve Martin
was the first comic who I watched, and I would listen to his albums and recite the whole thing.
Wow.
And I just thought that this guy, I never saw him live, but just hearing him and just hearing how the audience responded to him.
Yeah.
And then you'd see him on TV hosting SNL and so forth.
Yeah.
And the one that really, though, wanted me to think I'm like this guy was Letterman.
Okay.
Because Letterman's from the Midwest. A lot of people think I sound like Letterman.
Okay.
And I just thought he and I kind of had that same style of writing and how we saw the world.
Yes, sir.
So those two got me into it. Now, obviously, comedy has gone through ebbs and flows and so forth, and who's hot and who's not, and,
right.
Different styles. The comedians I like today are the ones, and I think I've always liked these, are guys that are good storytellers.
Yeah.
I believe that, the best comedians are the ones that they don't look like they're working.
Yeah.
They're just up there almost like it would be the same act if it was just you and he or she in a coffee shop. So on that note, John Mulaney, who I just saw live out in Rosemont, Nate Bargatze, who is really starting to hit it huge.
Okay.
I like him. And I like a guy named Mike Birbiglia, who does a couple of one-man shows on Broadway. All three have that unique ability to tell a story.
I like that.
And I think that, and they're all getting, I think, the respect that they deserve. They're all good writers, and they just know how to tell a story all the way through without people being like, okay, can we move on?
Nice. Thank you, Brian. And also, how much research do you do about a company beforehand to cater to the show, excuse me, or to the individual crowd? Do you change your set?
Yeah, I do. I say as far as how much research, usually I spend a good day on their website and so forth. I send a questionnaire to the executives.
Okay.
I look at that, and then I start going into the website, and I usually spend like a full day, and then I leave it.
Okay.
And I come back to it like about a week before. So I'll start like about a month before, and then I set it aside.
Right.
And then I like to go back and tighten things up, and then that's when I put the PowerPoint or the keynote together about a week and a half before.
Yeah.
Because I think everything, I think that's part of writing humor is you want to be in the moment, but you also want what you wrote to settle a little bit.
Of course.
And then say, okay, now how can I build on that?
Yeah, I like that. Great question, Brian Kravitz, Lenny Kravitz, brother. All right, we have Patty Escobar. Hello, Patty Escobar. Thank you for checking in with us. Many people are saying that Joe Coy bombed as host during his first Sunday Golden Globe Awards. Did you see it? And what's your take on it?
I didn't see it live. You don't have to see comedy live now. You can see, I've seen plenty of clips. I think that is a thankless job. And it's interesting because just today I read an interview with Michael Che, who's one of the head writers on Saturday Night Live and Weekend Update and so forth. And he said comedians should stop accepting these award ceremonies because they said it's just a no-win situation. He said those people, meaning all the nominees and all the top, he goes, they don't want to laugh. He said
They just want their award.
Yeah, that's what he said. He goes, they just want, because they're not even, he says, all they're thinking about are what I'm going to say when I win or when I don't win. And he said he really gets tired of people, of the camera crews cutting away after a joke that doesn't go great, or just in general, just cutting away and seeing some big celebrity just going.
Yeah.
And this is what the funniest thing he said. He goes, "You're actors. Can't you at least act like you're having a good time?" And I totally agree with that. So I just think it's I think it's a rough task, and I think there's very few people that can pull it off.
Yeah. Great questions. Thank you so much for you guys asking those questions, man. So it's. I got to get into this last piece because we're down to 6 minutes of time, and I'm having such a great time, and
I can talk comedy all night.
I know, and I can laugh. Right, I can just laugh all day, and I think that's what makes time fly by fast. Right, just having a great time. When it comes to movies, this is my favorite part right here, because there's a lot of corporations that have came out with movies from horror to comedy to drama to suspense. Now, of course, when we talk about comedy itself, sometimes a corporate horror film can be funny because of the way it was produced. Like it was B-roll.
Okay.
Right? Like it was like, I only got $1,000 to make this. Right? And it's like, we're going to put it on. Right? Right? We're going to try to make this happen. What are some of your favorite corporation comedies, where you know that things that you touched on was in the movie?
Good question. I think, I think as far as Office Space is probably the number one corporate comedy movie. All right. And I think I think that movie is timeless because you still see characters in there. But we're going to need you in Sunday as well. Exactly. And today's Hawaiian shirt day. Yeah. Honestly, I can't think of I think there's a lot of good movies that where there's some like very funny office scenes.
Yeah.
I think I think Miss Congeniality had a bunch of those, with Sandra Bullock, right? And was one where you every time it was in the office, you were just kind of cringing because somebody was getting their ass handed to them, usually courtesy of her, and you're just like, oh man, I wouldn't want to be that guy. And I think people can relate to that kind of stuff. One of my favorite movies, and this was set in Chicago, and I like to tell people about this one because it kind of flies under the radar. Nothing in Common with Tom Hanks. He plays a Chicago ad executive.
Okay.
And there's some great scenes of like his team trying to come up with campaigns and so forth. And then the drinking that goes on, where they're schmoozing the clients and so forth late at night. And I highly recommend if you can find Nothing in Common. Plus it's very
Nothing in Common?
Yeah, it's a very heartwarming movie too because Jackie Gleason plays his dad. And that's the backstory is, he's trying to get to the top of the corporate ladder and he's never gotten to know his dad. And he tries to do that. So great movie. Check it out.
I have to say that I had a great time with you today.
It was fun.
But it doesn't make this show without me giving gifts.
Oh.
And I got a gift for you.
Okay.
So I have a shirt for you, right? And, the Rico no Suave show shirt, we appreciate all gems of the world. You're a shining gem because you've been doing this for over 30 years. And from you traveling and you just making people laugh. But hitting these big companies, not a lot of people are able to do so. Right? It's from a corporate standpoint. Comedy, easy. Clubs, easy. In most cases, I'm not saying, of course, there's connections and things like that. Nothing against them. But when it comes to corporations, there's specific things that you have to dive into to understand the company and to be able to make it funny in order for them to want you back.
Right.
Just like Cisco.
Yeah.
Right? So I want to say congratulations to all that you have done in keeping people laughing and keep people laughing at those funeral homes. Here you go. This is yours.
Thanks, man. Just mean I can come back to your show?
You can come back to
all
our
right,
show.
Good. That's all I care about. So there you go. Thank you very much. Appreciate that.
Yes, man. Thank you so much for actually being on the show. But we have to tell everybody how they can find you.
Yes.
Now let's put up his social media, everybody. Yes. You can find them at Greg Schwem on Facebook. Yes, make sure you go in. Don't spam them. Just go ahead and, just say, hey, I saw you on the Rico no Suave show. Let's go from there. Here's the next one. The next one is Instagram. Yes, make sure you go there, Greg Schwem. Make sure you go ahead and follow him. He might follow you back. Send him a message and say, oh, I saw you on the Rico no Suave show. Okay, he might follow you back then. Based off of your content. So make sure it's okay. All right. Last but not least, we got 2 websites, everybody. And he has gregschwem.com.
Yep.
Make sure you please.
That was available.
Yes, that one should be available. Yeah.
Right.
So make sure you please go right ahead and please make sure you find out everything about him. And then don't go on his website trying to detail and then try to crack jokes and try to get him to laugh about his website, right? So make sure you go and show him support. Last but not least, you're going to like this one. A comedian crashes your pad. This is awesome, man. This is a nice domain name, but also crashing your pad is the bomb. Find out more information about my man, Greg Schwem, right away. So, Greg, thank you so much for being on the show.
My pleasure.
I had a great time as far as with you on the show, my man, and got to have you back.
Yeah.
Got to have you back for sure. And then we'll talk some more comedy.
All right. Very good.
Put your hands
Happy
together,
New
my
Year to you.
man, Greg Schwem. All right, everybody, we got to get out of here. But, hey, I am super, super happy that we are starting it off with a bang, everybody. 2024, what? With laughter? What else can you ask for, baby? What else can you ask for? We got to put up our social media before we get out of here. Our website is www.riconosuaveshow.com. Make sure you go ahead and check us out on our website. You'll see the archives here, and you can follow us, right? Follow us on Instagram from there as well, too. Here's our next one. You already know. It's Instagram. We got that, too. At Rico No Suave Show. Make sure you go and follow us there and follow and follow. Next one is, we left and came back because Facebook loves us. Rico No Suave Show, everybody. Make sure you go and check us out on Rico No Suave Show on Facebook. Here's the next one. YouTube. Yes. Make sure you go to YouTube, everybody. YouTube. Subscribe to our channel. Make sure everybody and their grandmother that don't have it, tell her to make sure she fills out the application, all that great stuff to fill out the form, because that's what they call it when you want to get something for free. Yes. Subscribe to our channel, Rico No Suave Show. Last but not least, boom. It turns into a podcast, everybody. Mixcloud.com/Rico No Suave Show. That's where you'll be able to find us, and you'll be able to hear this right after we disconnect. Everybody, thank you guys so much. I love all of you guys. We're going to have a great 2024. I can't wait to get it on with each and every one of you guys. Until next time, I'll see you guys as we end off the show just like this.
Over? Stakes, party people. We got